Here you go. We recognize the music. We know how these speeches and these rallies end. And Donald Trump has just wrapped up a successful rally at Coachella, California. He is, of course, the Republican nominee is hitting major issues impacting the Golden State. A lot of people say stay away from it. You can't win it. He says, why not? I can help other congressional candidates. I also could help solidify myself with the Hispanic community in a great, promising area that is really growing in California, which is very rural, by the way. Joining us now to discuss this and the rally, what we just watched all together, Wall Street Journal's own opinion columnist Kimberly Strassel and the CEO of American Majority, Ned Ryun. Welcome to both of you. All three of us have watched this rally together. Kim Strassel, what did you think?
Well, he's certainly touching on every theme, Brian, and I think that's the interesting thing here is that there is no topic that is off limits for him. I mean, when we talk about the things that Americans are most focused about, a lot of it is the border, inflation, national security. But Trump's talking about school choice. He's talking about water policy. He's talking about drilling. He's talking about DEI. I think that this is a smart move because there are different issues that motivate different people. I still wish he would sometimes connect it to a bigger theme about sort of less government versus more government rather than making it all about Kamala Harris. But he certainly is touching on a lot of themes that I think a lot of people want to hear about.
Ned, some were saying, why go to a blue state that you can't win in these final weeks? His camp came back and says, I want to also help congressional candidates, and I also want the whole country behind me. I just don't want the red states behind me. That's the message the Trump camp wants to relay.
Well, this is absolutely about some key House seats in California. I think the Madison Square Garden rally in New York City coming up in a few days is also about House seats. I do think the House majority is probably going to run through California and New York and some really key House seats. So, of course, Trump's doing those rallies in those states for that purpose, because I think the majority in the House is going to be a very narrow one after November 5th. And I think also, too, Brian, I don't think they're probably talking about it much. I think Trump in the back of his mind kind of wants to go after the popular vote. And so I think that's why he's doing California and New York. But I would also hope, Brian, tomorrow he's headed to Prescott, Arizona. I hope that he lives and breathes and every day for the next 3.5 weeks, as much as he can be, is Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, North Carolina, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. That's the game. And so I appreciate him being in California, New York, but I hope he doesn't lose sight of the fact those 7 states are going to decide the White House, and we desperately need him to win on November 5th.
Kim, you wrote a column. Every column to me I get something out of, but especially this one that I thought you were really right on the money as usual. And if we could pull some of that, you basically think that the president needs a topic sentence. And this is what you put in your column from September 26th. And just to go to the full screen now about the quote that really stood out with me. As much as you appreciate what the president's message is, he thinks you got to shorten it and make it crisper. You said the race is instead is deadlocked despite everything that's going the president's way in terms of the issues, because Trump lacks a topic sentence. And while there is no Reagan-esque orator in the bipartisan word salad toss-off, you don't need the man to remember his own wisdom. The job of a party leader is to lead with a message that connects with the public. Reagan crafted one for the ages. And if the Republicans had 2 brain cells to rub together, they would know with this one that's obviously that needs to revive it right now. It is government is the problem. That was the theme. It wasn't necessarily the headline, Kim.
Well, absolutely. And I think that's my frustration. If you look out there at Americans in their heart, they understand that why are prices so high? Because government spent too much money. Why are we seeing global disorder? Because government hasn't done its job, stood up for America. Why are we seeing crime? Because of border policies that government instituted. And Reagan understood this. And Donald Trump talked about Reagan there, had a little shout out. And those famous Reagan words, the scariest words ever, is I'm from the government and I'm here to help. And his point was that if you are looking to the federal government for solutions, this is the kind of mess that you get. Always. It's a time-worn prospect. And I just wish, I'd love to see Donald Trump make that point to undergird his points a little bit more, instead of just saying Kamala's terrible, Kamala's awful. It's actually government that's awful. And I think that would resonate with more voters.
And Ned, I want you to weigh in, but we're also going to roll in, if we can, the Real Clear poll averages. The president's on a bit of a roll. Obviously, she had August. The vice president had August, but she does not own September. And the more she tries to get out there, I think the more traction she's losing. And we can just roll in some of the real clear averages on the battleground states. But your thought about what Kim just said?
I agree. I mean, I think Donald Trump does obviously make the argument every time he's at the rallies. In a more general sense, could be a bit more crisp, that government is the problem. He intends to address it. I mean, I think that's really the whole theme of what he's saying almost every time. But back to these polls.
Gotcha.
Donald Trump's the greatest. Donald Trump's the greatest closer in politics, and what you're seeing right now is him surging in October. New York Times, Siena has him up 5 in Arizona. Wall Street Journal, I think, has got him up 5 in Nevada. So the key states where he needs to be closing hard, he is. But I'll say this, Brian, in the next 3.5 weeks, I hope that Donald Trump spends as much time as he can in those 7 key states and emphasizes again and again and again, get your ballots in, go vote early, let's close out strong, have a plan, do not leave any ballots on the table, chase those all the way in. He has to win on November 5th, but the only way he's going to do it is if he focuses on bringing in those ballots as much as possible before November 5th.
Kimberly, I want you to hear these personal attacks on President Trump. Listen.
That's part of the problem with Donald Trump. Frankly, I'm going to, and I say this in all sincerity, he's just not very serious about how he thinks about some of these issues.
Mr. President Trump, former President Trump, get a life, man. Help these people.
I remember changing diapers. You think Donald Trump ever changed a diaper? Yeah. I almost said that, but I decided I shouldn't say
it. Kim, I was just struck real quick, 20 seconds, struck by the personal attacks. Your thought?
Yeah, this is what you do when you don't want to run on the issues. I think they think they're trying to get into his head. But it's also deflection here, Brian. They don't want to have to talk about the things that Americans are unhappy about, so instead they're focused on personally attacking him.
Yeah. Kimberly and Ned, thanks so much. Every minute matters. Thanks so much for your great analysis. Have a great weekend.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.